DocTalk is brought to you by Merck Animal Health, the science of healthier animals.
Hey folks, welcome to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thompson. We're here at Kansas State University in the Toxicology Laboratory, but my guest will be Dr. Casey Olson. He is a world-renowned cow-calf nutritionist and production specialist, and today we're going to have a great show talking about how you know when to put cows on, when to take cows off, how many cows, how to improve your carrying capacity of the pasture, and much more.
I'm Bob Swartz, and I've devoted the last 43 years to helping Kansans reach their retirement goals and to protect the family farm. At Bob Swartz Financial, we believe everyone should be able to live the retirement they've always dreamed of. Our team of professionals can help you create an efficient strategy using a variety of investment vehicles to help you address your financial needs and your concerns. Bob Swartz Financial values commitment and transparency.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Kansas Farm Bureau has served farm families and rural Kansas for more than 100 years, and we're pleased to offer new healthcare coverage choices for Kansans in 2020 through Kansas Farm Bureau health plans. No matter what stage of life you're in, we'll have options that fit your lifestyle. Plus, our network of providers is one of the largest available throughout the state of Kansas and beyond. For more information, including the different plans available, or to get a quote, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hey folks, welcome to Doc Talk. He's back. He's our friend, he's our colleague, he's our cow-calf specialist, and good friend of mine, Dr. Casey Olson. And I'm glad you're here because people are starting to recognize you now on the show and around the country, and they already did, but now you're seeing you on TV.
Well, yeah, I don't have a life. This is my favorite TV show. It's good to be back. Yeah.
Well, we're lucky to have him here. He's at Kansas State University. He's in the Department of Animal Science and Industries, and he is an expert in cow-calf nutrition, production, and we're very fortunate to have him at Kansas State. So we're going to talk about pastures and grazing and taking care of the land. And let's talk first about stocking rates.
Okay, they say the three most important things in real estate are location, location, location.
Yep.
The three most important things in grazing management are stocking rate, stocking rate, and stocking rate. And if you ask a typical rancher, what's your stocking rate on this particular pasture, they're going to tell you, they're going to give you an animal per acre kind of a figure. And that's misleading. Okay, a stocking rate, okay, the rate implies that there's some element of time involved. Is always live weight per acre per unit time.
Gotcha.
It can be a year, it can just be a season, it can be a week or a month. But time is a critical part of stocking rate.
Sure, because the longer you leave them out there, the bigger the area needs to be,
Sure.
I assume.
I mean, that's a fact, because when you get right down to the nitty-gritty, stocking rate is determined by the amount of forage removal per unit time. Okay, and what determines forage removal? The appetite of the animal. What drives the appetite of the animal? Generally, the animal's body size. I know it sounds very simple, but the bigger the animal is, the more dry matter they're going to consume in a day's time or a week's time. And so stocking rate should be a function of live weight per unit area, per unit time.
Awesome. So, just kind of give me some, I know you travel around the U.S., but some of the differences in stocking rates, or, some of the things that you see. What are some of the,
Okay, I grew up in northwestern North Dakota. It's cold desert, and a stocking rate for a year's time is generally going to be in the neighborhood of 30 to 60 acres per cow per 12-month period. And that's of course limited by forage productivity. And here in the Flint Hills, we are blessed. We have abundant forage. It's very productive, and here for 12 months, conservatively 16 acres down to maybe even 10 acres can carry a pair for a year's time.
So quite a bit of difference, and the resources for those types of things, if you're moving into an area or new to an area, work with the extension specialist, ask the neighbors.
Well, both are good resources, actually. People that have been in the game in a given area for a period of time are generally your best source of information when you're trying to determine how much grazing pressure land will take.
Cool. We're going to take a break. When we come back, more with Dr. Casey Olson. You're watching DocTalk. We'll be back after these messages.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well on their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but yet we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, and we're glad to answer it and work with you.
In 1821, a trade route was opened from Missouri in the United States across prairies and mountains to Mexico. In 2021, we will mark 200 years of epic conflicts and grand adventures, larger-than-life personalities, and sweeping landscapes. Join us on an historic journey. The Santa Fe Trail lives on.
Find us on social media or santafetrail.org.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thompson here with Dr. Casey Olson, who's a professor here in cow-calf nutrition and is a specialist at Kansas State University, travels internationally, speaking on nutrition, production, and you know, we got to have grass. Well, we don't have to, but we'd like to have grass.
Right.
And so when we have overgrazing, that can be an issue. And
anybody who manages grazing livestock, if you ask them what they do, they ought to tell you that they are a natural resource manager first and a cattle manager second. You know, what causes overgrazing? You could really come at it from two different directions. Is it too many animals per unit area, or is it too long a time per unit area? Most grazing management problems really come down to the second issue. It's not overuse, it's under-resting that causes degradation of range and pasture resources.
Gotcha. So how do you start to gauge some of that? How do you measure it, or how do you know, I mean, it's kind of like probably like fattening cattle. The eye of the master fattens the animal, and you got to be watching.
There is some art to it. First thing you got to know is how much useful forage. By useful, what I mean is forage that is consumable by cattle is produced in a season, and your stocking rate is going to be determined by that forage productivity. You know, land might produce 2,000 pounds of forage per acre. The question is, can you use 2,000 pounds? The answer is no. Generally speaking, the old adage in grazing management is you take half and you leave half. You've got to leave adequate leaf area behind so the plants have the opportunity to photosynthesize and store root carbohydrates to regrow leaf area. What you don't want to do as a grazing manager is drive an undesirable compositional change, basically a change in forage species composition with too much grazing pressure.
So if we graze it down too much, some plants can take that and some can't, is what you're saying.
Right, and I mean, think about how you eat. Okay, if you had your druthers, you'd probably live on beer and pizza, right? Not good for you.
Right.
Okay, but cattle have preferences just the way people do. There are some plants that they prefer and select consistently. There are other plants they leave behind, even though they're abundant. When the preferred plants get a lot of grazing pressure and the unpreferred plants get no grazing pressure, the non-preferred plants proliferate, and gradually the preferred forage species diminish, and the non-preferred ones, usually these are weeds we call them, the non-preferred ones take their place. And over time, we have a resource that's progressively less useful to nourish cattle.
Cool. Well, I think that understanding your stocking rate combined with watching what's actually going on, I mean, the weather, different things to that nature are going to play a role.
Yeah, when I teach my students and teach producers about grazing management, first thing we characterize is forage availability. Second thing we do is a little bit of education on forage species ID, so we know what the preferred plants are and what the non-preferred plants are. And basically those plants that cattle do not eat or eat in very sparing amounts, we discount those from forage availability.
Gotcha. All right, folks, we're going to take a break. When we come back, more with Dr. Casey Olson here at Kansas State University. Hey folks, thanks for joining me on today's Cattle First Minute as sponsored by Beringer Ingelheim Vet Medica. You know, when we start to think about breeding season and turning bulls out, the one thing I can't emphasize enough is to get a breeding soundness exam done on your bulls before turnout. And some of the things that can happen during the winter, whether it's frostbite in certain areas of the body or there's things that can happen that will cause a bull to become infertile, are things that you need to make sure. The other thing that's very important on a breeding soundness exam is we have to make sure that we don't have lameness or issues with the feet, because no wheels, no calves. So making sure that we have a sound bull structurally, making sure that we have one that's fertile and one that can produce enough sperm and enough volume with enough motility with no defects in the sperm is vitally important to making sure every year before you turn out to ensure that you get a calf crop, at least from the bull's point of view.
Welcome Welcome to the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in my hometown of Oakley, Kansas. We're the front door of Western Kansas, located on 3 main highways, I-70, US 83, and US 40. And all those roads lead to history, beautiful scenery, and adventure, no matter which direction you go. We now have an IHOP. That brand that you've trusted up and down the road in all your travels is staffed with local folks, real people, just like you and me, and we're waiting on you to join us. So for fun, adventure, fuel up, fuel your body, and let's have some fun. Highways 40, 83, and I-70 come together right here in Oakley. Roads that lead to businesses, to magnificent rock formations, to scenic vistas, to places where legends were made. Roads that lead us home. Discover Oakley, the gateway to Western Kansas.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson here with my friend and colleague, Dr. Casey Olson, who is an expert in cow-calf nutrition and production management here at Kansas State University, travels all around the United States working with nutrition of cow herds. And as we left, we were talking about undesirable and carrying capacity, and so now we're going to talk about how we can improve that, right?
Right. And I need to leave you with a definition, I guess, right here. We've talked about stocking rate. We really haven't talked about how that differs from the concept of carrying capacity. Carrying capacity is the maximum allowable stocking rate that can be sustained without driving an undesirable compositional change in the forage. And believe it or not, carrying capacity is pretty elastic. And this will be the most important piece of advice that anybody can give you with respect to managing range or pasture, is that anything you can do to increase carrying capacity is money in your pocket. Think about ways, guys and gals, that you can get rid of bare soil. Okay, think about ways that you can protect areas that are locally overgrazed by cattle from grazing pressure just for a period of time. Can you improve grazing distribution? In other words, get animals to areas of the pasture that they underuse by varying placement of water and mineral. Those kinds of things are the most important activity that you can engage in as a rancher, thinking about how you can leverage your existing resource for 1 more unit or 2 more units of animal inventory. Think about it. If you're breaking even with 100 cows, you're breaking even with 200 steers, that 201st steer, that 101st cow is pure profit.
Those are freebies.
Those are freebies.
Well, but you got to be careful too, because if you do it the other way, next thing you know, you have a lot of bare soil.
That's right.
And a dry lot.
So the improvement in carrying capacity comes first, then the addition of animal inventory. I'll give you an example from my own experience. 13 years ago, my wife and I bought a very degraded piece of Flint Hills pasture that would, at its maximum, support about 125 pounds of live weight per acre for 90 days. Okay, with 13 years of work, a little bit of cross fencing, a little bit of water development, that pasture is now carrying about 300 pounds of live weight per acre for 90 days. It just takes creativity, not necessarily money. We got rid of bare soil by picking up lots of rocks. Okay, we got rid of trailing and gullying by taking the same rocks that we picked up off of the soil surface and stacking them in those areas where water was running in an uncontrolled way. We spent less than $1 per linear foot to put up some electrical cross fencing so we could do a better job with time control in our grazing program. And now that piece of land cash flows itself. Before those changes, we couldn't make a cash flow.
That's why we hang around with this guy, because he is a hard worker, creative thinker, but more importantly, his boots are always on the ground, and he's somebody that if you have a question on cow-calf nutrition production, get him to your meeting. Come see him at K-State, Dr. Casey Olson, over in the Department of Animal Science and Industry. We'll be back after these messages.
I'm Bob Swartz, and I've devoted the last 43 years to helping Kansans reach their retirement goals and to protect the family farm. At Bob Swartz Financial, we believe everyone should be able to live the retirement they've always dreamed of. Our team of professionals can help you create an efficient strategy using a variety of investment vehicles to help you address your financial needs and your concerns. Bob Swartz Financial values commitment and transparency.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Kansas Farm Bureau has served farm families in rural Kansas for more than 100 years. We're pleased to offer new healthcare coverage choices for Kansans in 2020 through Kansas Farm Bureau Health Plans. No matter what stage of life you're in, we'll have options that fit your lifestyle. Plus, our network of providers is one of the largest available throughout the state of Kansas and beyond. For more information, including the different plans available, or to get a quote, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
Highways 40, 83, and I-70 come together right here in Oakley. Roads that lead to businesses, to magnificent rock formations, to scenic vistas, to places where legends were made. Roads that lead us home. Discover Oakley, the gateway to western Kansas.
At Farm Credit, we partner with America's farmers who work hard each and every day to grow the food that we all enjoy. It's not an easy task, but it's an important one. Farm Credit is proud to work with farmers and ranchers, lending support in rural America.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hey folks, Dr. Dan here with Dr. Casey Olson from Kansas State University's Department of Animal Science and Industries. We left talking about a lot of the things that happened during the normal. And now let's talk about managing the not so normal.
Okay. So that you'll recognize what abnormal looks like when it shows up, you have to know what normal looks like. And I tell my students, I tell the folks that I work with, you need to become a weather geek. Okay, first thing you got to do is figure out what your normal forage productivity is on a parcel of land. I'm not talking about getting down on your hands and knees with the chiggers and clipping forage. You can do it with a ruler or a yardstick. Basically, in this country, every inch of forage growth that you measure on a ruler is worth about 250 to 280 pounds of dry matter per acre. So, for example, if you stick your ruler in the soil, you measure the forage is 10 inches high, 10 times 250, okay, would be your forage dry matter production per acre. So you do that a couple of dozen times every summer, you'll know what normal forage productivity is. Find a way to monitor rainfall. You don't have to have a rain gauge in your front yard to do that. The Kansas State University Mesonet has a location near you. You can periodically monitor that. When rainfall isn't quite right, you need to be able to recognize that before the competition does and take steps to diminish stocking rate.
And as we diminish stocking rate, other things we can do is start to stockpile hay, or or get prepared for try when you said before the competition does, it made me think about one of the things I'm always trying to recognize: do I need to get hay or not? Because a lot of times when I realize I need to get hay, I'm not buying such good hay because everything else has been picked through.
And you might be buying it at a premium as well.
Yeah.
My sort of living laboratory at the Kansas State University cow-calf unit, we've lived through this a couple of times. In 2012, that was what the old timers called a 500-year drought. We could see the train coming down the tracks a couple of months before panic mode hit the rest of the country. So we diminished stocking rate in simple ways. We early weaned, with just 100-day-old calves, and we probably reduced stocking rate by 30 to 40% just doing that. We ended our breeding season early. We were just 35 days of exposure that particular year, so that we could preg check early, so that we could go ahead and market those open females before the summer grazing season was up. We had a marketing plan, attached to each one of those reductions in stocking rates, so that we knew what to do with 100-day-old baby calves. We knew what to do with our cull females that we couldn't keep for the subsequent winter.
It's awesome. I just appreciate what you do. Appreciate you spending time with me, and enjoy teaching. We teach a class together here at K-State.
It is the best class in captivity.
It's beef sciences. If you want to go to undergrad at K-State, come on. And Dr. Olson and I teach a class together. Be glad to have you. Appreciate what you do.
Doc, thanks for having me on the show.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to work with your local veterinarian. If you want to know what we do here at DocTalk, you can find us on the web at www.doctalktv.com. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson, here with Dr. Casey Olson. We're at Kansas State University, and we'll see you down the road.
For more information about this program or previous programs, go to DocTalkTV.com.
DocTalk was brought to you by Merck Animal Health, the science of healthier animals.
I'm Bob Swartz, and I've devoted the last 43 years to helping Kansans reach their retirement goals and to protect the family farm. At Bob Swartz Financial, we believe everyone should be able to live the retirement they've always dreamed of. Our team of professionals can help you create an efficient strategy using a variety of investment vehicles to help you address your financial needs and your concerns. Bob Swartz Financial values commitment and transparency.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways. Of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at kfrm.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.